go to pixlr.com and I'm going to log in. Make sure you choose Pixlr E because that's the program we're going to be using. On the left-hand side, I'm going to choose Create New because I want to try a new document out. You can choose whatever size document you want this time, but I'm going to choose Full HD because that gives me a large document to work with. On the right-hand side, you can name your file, and we're going to name this one Layers and Saving Assignment, and then I want you to put your last name on it also. So the left-hand side of the screen is going to show me all my cool navigation stuff. There's a navigation window that shows me exactly where I'm at on the screen, and layers are going to show me what order my work is in and what is on top of or below another layer. So I'm going to jump over to Google and I'm going to pick a picture, an image to put into my Pixlr window to edit. I'm going to choose a bulldog because we're the Bulldogs. Go Bulldogs! Cool, so I found a picture that I like and I'm going to click on it so it's big and I'm going to right click it and choose copy image. Then I'm going to go over to my Pixlr window and I'm going to paste it into my layer. The picture that I chose is a little bit small for the canvas size I chose, so I'm going to resize it to fit my screen. There was still some background room, so I took the crop tool on the left and I cropped out the extra background so it was just the picture of the bulldog. To apply the crop, all I did was hit enter on my keyboard. I can click and drag the layers to change the order they are. So the layer that's on the bottom is underneath all my other layers, and the layer that's on top is on top of all my other layers. So next I'm going to go to the toolbox on the left hand side and I'm going to click the big letter T, and that is my text tool. And I'm going to add some text over this image. It's going to create it in a brand new layer. After selecting the text tool, I can click anywhere on my layer and it will bring up a box asking me if I want to create a new text layer. This layer will show up on top of the previous layer that I started to work on so that I can see the text. I typed "Go Bulldogs" because I love the Bulldogs. I can go to the top of my screen right above my picture and I can change things about my text. I can change the color, and one really cool thing is that when I select color, I can use the little eyedropper and I can pick a color right from the image so that my text really goes with the image that I have. I want to make sure that I get a color that actually fits with the artwork and not just any random color. I want it to be readable and stand out, but not stand out in a bad way that looks like I don't know what I'm doing. I can change the size of the font by either typing in a number, or I can use the drag bar and I can drag it as big as I want it. I can also change the font style, and remember, style matters. You don't want a cutesy font if you're going for something really exciting and bold, and you don't want a scary font if you're looking for something uplifting. So choose a font that goes with your picture and your message. Next, I want to try a blend mode on my layer. I'm going to choose the 3 dots on the left side of my layer and choose blend modes. And this is going to tell me how my current layer interacts with the layer below it. So I'm going to choose a couple and see which one I like the best. I didn't like my first choice, and so I was able to go to the history and choose the step right before that layer, that blend mode that I chose, and I could get rid of it. And that way I don't have too many different blend modes going, and it's a really quick way to step back if you don't like something that you did. So I did find a blend mode that I thought was really cool, but I decided that I wanted the font even bigger to make the effect even more amazingly awesome, and so I made my font way bigger. When I was moving my font, I noticed that some grid lines popped up, and that helped me center my font on top of my image, and that was super helpful. I can click on the 3 dots on the left side of the layer, and I can choose the transparency level of that layer. So that means if I make it more transparent, you can see through it, and it doesn't show up as boldly as it did as if it was on 100% transparency. Some other cool stuff about layers is you can merge layers together in different ways. So if we go to the 3 little dots on the left-hand side, at the bottom there's some icons, and I can choose merge down, and that will merge my current layer and the one below it together into one layer. If I merged layers on accident, I can always go back to my history and click the point right before I merged them, and it will undo the merge so that my layers are separate again. Okay, we're gonna grab our Bulldog logo and we're gonna put it into our artwork, and then I'm gonna show you how to duplicate a layer. One thing I forgot to do was to switch my tool on the left-hand side from the text tool back to the arrow. I want to make sure I use the arrow on the top so that I can move things around. Okay, and again, the image that I chose was not the size that I wanted, so I had to resize it to the size that I actually wanted it in my artwork. I can toggle that visibility box and see if I like where I placed the image or if I like the way it was before I put the image there. I made our Bulldog logo invisible, and then I went to the text and I merged visible layers. So anything that was visible to me, all merged into one layer, and my Bulldog logo was not visible, so that remained on its own layer. If you choose flatten image, that'll merge all the layers together, whether they're visible or invisible. They all get merged into one layer. Sometimes this is easier to do if you're going to export your file into a JPEG or a PNG. It's just a nice easy step to make it easier for the computer to process your save. So now I want to duplicate a layer. There's something on a layer that I like and I want to just duplicate it so I don't have to recreate it again. So I'm going to choose duplicate layer on the layer options, and it's going to make a second Bulldog logo. It is on its own layer, and now I can edit it as I please, and so I'm going to move it and make it smaller. I didn't like it there, so I went ahead and deleted the layer. You can also go into the layer menu and change the name of each layer so it's easier to find what layer you're working on. When we get into some bigger projects later on and you're going to have like 15 different layers, you're going to want to know what's on each layer. And so get used to naming your layers so they're easy to find. Okay, so now it's time to save our project. You guys are going to be saving your projects in 2 different formats each time you save a project. Choosing JPEG or JPG is our basic image file. You cannot edit this file unless you bring it back into Pixlr, and you will not be able to change the layers. It compresses it all into one layer, and it is not editable. You will need this for our Google Sites image. Saving something as a PNG file will allow you to save something with a clear background. That means there's no white box around it. It is clear, and when you put it into another file, it's going to have no background. Just like when I loaded our Bulldogs logo into this artwork, there was no background on it. PXD is Pixlr's native file format, and this is an editable format, and it keeps your layers so that you can edit your file. You can stop working on it and save it in that format and come back to it and work in the layers again. So always save it in that format so you can always rework it. So for now, save a copy as JPEG or JPG, and that will go on our Google Sites once we talk about that, and also save it as PXD so that we can go back and edit it later if we need to.